Ayo, log 17.0. Time is 2:33 a.m. GMT, February 13th, Saturday, February 13th, 2021. Oh, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. One of my buddies just asked me, what did he say? How are we celebrating? How are we all celebrating Singles Awareness Day or whatever? I said, I'm not jerking it February 13th to celebrate V-Day Big. That's lame. Came off lame too, whatever. But yeah, man. Really, Valentine's Day is so far removed from my mind. It just popped in my head as I looked at the date. But what to say about this week? Um, Damn, I should restart, dude. I should cancel this one out and restart. That was a horrible opening. Fuck it. Never done it. Well, not about to do it. Fuck it. We're doing it live. What to say about this week? Better week than the last couple of weeks, to be honest. And what was unique about this week was finally formally have my first official hire. Signed, sealed, delivered, start date March 1st. Did I say this last week? Was this true as of last week, this time last week when I did this? Oh man, things blend together so bad. No, this was just true as of earlier this week. I'm horrible, man. I don't know. Anyhow, big news is, um, you know, she starts on March 1st. We did interview like a third person on like the 11th hour that I fast tracked for. That was this week's fast track for my CEO and one of my other colleagues to interview because she reminded me so much of this other colleague we used to have that everyone said they would work with again, kind of thing. If it weren't for the way it fell out, that person ended up suing the company actually. But she was, I think, definite building block, early building block. And this girl I interviewed reminded me so much of her that I couldn't not like pass her through. And to be honest, on paper, she was the strongest candidate also. And very different too. We ultimately came down to three. It was like comparing in terms of style, apples, oranges, and bananas. Um, and split decision is across the panel that interview, but ultimately went with that one that I said last week I wanted to go with. Ultimately, my call, I was given that, afforded that kind of decision making power to make the final call. But I think for the most part, what I want to align with what my CEO did as well, which was good to hear and see. We're kind of on the same page. And the one I ended up going with, like I said last week, like really very much no nonsense. Even when she got the offer letter, I was not from her actually, but I would have expected it from one of the others, both of the others probably, to be honest. Questions about, oh, this is how many shares I'm getting, but how many outstanding shares are there? More detail about like the health benefits, et cetera. And this one definitely did ask, is health like fully covered? And I expected her to ask as much. And I explained how it was for me, essentially, yes. And there's still like your copay and deductible, right? So, and like a tiny bit, I think I contributed like $13 in 2019 to medical, like two of which like 2 cents was to dental. Why the hell did I contribute anything? Why isn't it just like full coverage? I don't understand, right? Like the guy's so nominal, it's essentially full. Why even to contribute shit? So I don't know, but anyhow, we have to spin back up health benefits for her. The other like higher opted to be on a contract because I guess he's young, like under 26, so still on his parents' health plan, and opted for more money instead of like health coverage kind of thing, a contract type hire instead of a full-time employee. I think the difference is how like W-2 versus whatever else. I don't know. This is stuff I all got to learn, man. And thank God this girl that I hired isn't like the type to give me a headache about it already, very obviously. Like even when she asked about the health benefits, she still went on and signed it. But I think even before I got back to her, or just as I got back to her, signed, DocuSigned. So, there was this third one that like I fast tracked for everyone to interview. And one of the girls who the CEO really trusts her opinion actually preferred, I think, above all three, maybe, or ultimately the one that I went with, she seemed to like the least, but like them all, right? So most importantly. Um, but the one, the fascia, I just dreaded. I totally thought I'd probably get given a headache about, health benefits, and is it going to be HMO, PPO, and all these kind of questions that I'm not prepared for. I know I should know more about health and stuff given my history, but I really don't, dude, to be honest. Like I just always went with like the platinum plan and knowing I stand to benefit from the most. Um, and and yeah. Anywho, not so much shop talk, right? But I do need somebody that's kind of no nonsense, just to roll with it, right? And ultimately, I can trust not give me a headache, right? We'll see how it plays out. Time will tell. But definitely feeling good about my decision. Like right after, before we extended the offer, I was about to send out the offer. I was prepping it, like right before I interviewed this one girl. I was about to send it. I was like, let me interview this one girl. I interviewed one. I was like, okay, I can't send it. I got this one girl's got a CEO, and this other colleague of mine definitely have to see this one first before I send out this final offer. It was definitely agonizing, actually, leading up to the next day about what to do, who to pick, kind of thing, sort of thing. But then the next day, I kind of woke up knowing what I was going to do, actually. But that night, definitely agonizing about it all and feeling bad about leaving the one we ultimately made the offer to kind of hanging. Because we interviewed with her on Friday and this was Tuesday. And then, still didn't receive an offer and wouldn't until like Wednesday, like maybe 3 p.m. her time, 8 p.m. that time. But feel really good about it, the decision. So, no second guessing here as far as from those three. I guess the only question would have been, should we have interviewed more? Not for me, who of the three, we ultimately settled on. No kind of questions about self-doubt about ruling out those I did that didn't even make it to that final round like those three did. A lot of them that I interviewed were very like clear. Even one of the three, actually, two of the three, actually, the two of the three that I ruled out, to be honest. And then others too that we interviewed that didn't even make it to the third and final round. Were very clear about wanting to manage, right? And I completely appreciate that. I understand that. I wanted to for a long time too, right? But there's something odd about I have a level of distrust of somebody that really desperately wants to manage people, even though like I did too, to be honest, right? But like, but I don't know. There's something we said. I think there's even a quote out there by somebody like distrust those that want to. It's not manage people, but and maybe that is how the quote goes. Maybe it isn't even a quote. Maybe it's just something I read somebody said, but it's definitely a fucking thing. Um, especially for us, like there's in all likelihood there won't be anybody else in the US until at earliest, to be honest, 2022. Maybe even best case scenario. Now granted that may change, but even if it changes, it won't change materially. It'll be maybe like one other US CSM sort of thing, maybe end of this year, 2021, rather than in 2022. But even then, not exactly going to be managing them. It's more like you'll evolve into like a lead role, right? Maybe once there's there are three CSMs total, sure, then you can be more manager type, but like from two, you're a lead. You're not going to be a manager, right? So this like desire to manage was actually a knock on a lot of these candidates in my mind's eye, because what I'm really looking for is somebody just to own the book of business. And as the book of business grows, sure, they can bring on other people and they can lead that other person, and then to bring on additional person, then be manager type thing. And eventually, if we continue to grow without like an early successful exit, evolve into like a director of North American customer success, right? I'm perfectly happy with that. That's what I want from this role, you know, if the runway allows, sort of thing. And my resume is a testament to what's possible here. I went from individual contributor to VP, and I look to replicate, that same path for whomever we hire here. And much like I was tasked with finding my former self, I'd love to kind of enable this person with what this company did for me, for them too. So of course, but if you're coming in saying how much you want to manage people right now, we're not there yet. So relax, and we're not going to scratch that itch anytime soon. And my concern is, you're gonna become impatient. Um, So this one though, they ended up set on. No experience having managed people before. Very frank about that. And also did not even, I think, actually ever even say that she really wanted to manage people. I think she said maybe to some degree she did say it, but wasn't like something she emphasized like the others did. Um, really for her, it was more about she just wants to not be micromanaged and own her book of business, right? And that's exactly what I'm looking for. Someone I don't have to micromanage and will own that book of business. So, yep, let's see. Starts on March 1st. And between now and then, next task is to find like a solutions engineer for the US market to partner with her too. So that she's not left alone on an island without a technical resource like I was for 3 years. And it was always my first and foremost ask was, can I get a technical resource? I went 3 years without one and was really set up to fail without it. Granted, it's got by, but not what I would wish upon anyone else. So fortunately, CEO's on board with that as well. So the next task, like I said, this week is put out a spec and find like a, junior but very competent solutions engineer type to partner with her. And, if we haven't found one by time March 1st comes around, she can maybe even spearhead PlayPoint on that search for her technical resource, our US technical resource. But most importantly, there for her in those US accounts. So we'll see. We'll see how all that goes. In the interim, my mentality just totally like paradigm shift, bro. I was talking the last couple of weeks how I was not doing well and I wasn't. But this week, I think with maybe that hire getting complete, like I think there was like some like subliminal dread in here, Like I was aware of it, wasn't like so non-obvious, but I don't think I realized just how much it was affecting me. And maybe it wasn't just that was affecting me, maybe it was other things too. That's the thing about chemistry, man. I was talking to one of my friends about how she's like taking meds and seeing therapists and this and that. And I said, with chemistry, when it comes to chemistry, man, there's just so many fucking variables, dude. It's so impossible. She's talking about this medication she's taking. She was asking me if I'd ever been on it before when she first started. And I said, yeah, dude, I was, but I didn't last on it very long because it gave me like this horrible, like, restless leg syndrome. I don't know if like technically clinically what I had was restless leg syndrome, but like I could not sit still. And I typically shake my leg, just generally always have anyways. But like I could not sit still. I could not even like get to sleep. It was such a benign sounding sort of symptom or side effect that was really impossible. Like, it was impossible. And eventually I just had to kick it and force it. The doctor I was with at that time was very open to like trial and erroring medication for me in those early days of figuring out what would work for me. Um, and I told her that and said, but everybody's chemistry is different. And then like that was like 4 weeks ago, and we were talking this week, and she was saying she had the same sort of side effect. Now, I don't know if that's maybe I muddied the waters there. Maybe I created like a placebo effect, but what she was describing, I think goes beyond placebo effect. Like, yeah, like I was like, yes. She's like, I experienced the same thing you were saying. So I feel for you. Like, that's why I didn't stick with it. But as far as side effects, very benign. A lot of medication can bring a lot worse fucking side effects. So, but as far as being able to function, like, it is weird how this kind of like unable to sit still is so debilitating. And I guess those with ADHD or ADD or whatever can relate, but like, this was beyond that. This is painful. It was painful. Like, I could not sit still. It was like painful in the legs. Like, I don't know how else to explain, but that was way back when. But yeah, chemistry. What was I saying about chemistry? Yeah, we'll see how the chemistry kind of evolves with this team too. Now that we have two new American employees again. Now that we have, Foothold America again and American employees, we have to stand up at like 9:30 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday. That's something they won't be able to join the Americans. So what, do we shift the stand up? I don't know. But do we do something so it's inclusive of all? Probably. But, something to figure out as far as like the chemistry and the dynamic of the team and how it all fit together, bringing on two new people in from two from far away, you know. What else about this week? Calls went a lot better this week as well. Things a lot better, customer base. It was a good week all around, actually. So feels good to bounce back from like those last few weeks. I feel like it's important not to forget that like the last few weeks weren't good, why they weren't good, but also take solace in how like this week was good. It's not like 3 shit weeks in a row, when 3 thus makes the trend type thing, downward trend if it had been bad, but real rut more, but like, yes, bounce back on stuff. Thank God. Thank God. I really worry, sometimes like if I were to get in a bad rut, I've said this before, but if I were to hit like into a depression, if I got hit with one, goddamn scary to think about. So it was a good week and a very significant one as well with a new hire signing on. What else to say about this week? It's snowing in England, which I hear is rare, and I've always understood to be rare in London at least as well. But like really snow, like proper snow. It was exciting. I love it. But very like fucking cold. Like it says it's only like -1 degree Celsius, which I translate into Fahrenheit equates to just like 30 degrees Fahrenheit, but definitely fucking feels colder than that. My CEO was saying the same, and he's from Ukraine. So when he said that, I was like, thank God, okay, because I thought I was just being like California crazy, or not crazy, but just like California delusional about like, oh, this is much colder than -1. This is much colder. He's like, no, definitely. And with the wind chill, no doubt. But I wonder what it is with that wind chill, because it's fucking freezing out there, man. Motherfucker. But yeah, I whipped out the ski jacket for the first time since what? I've been out here over a year now, officially. Last week was the year mark, year and 1 week now. I guess because last week was the year mark, every week I do this going forward is 1 week plus a year, right? Yeah. Um, um, but whipped out the ski jacket, and like I said, I hadn't worn it the whole time, been out here, and reached into the pocket and pull out like one of Nick's poo bags. Yeah, I just wanted to like cry, like I can see why people say they have to like leave a house where somebody died, or the ghost of somebody still be somewhere, and like in the abstract sense, I think I always understood or appreciated it, but like when I pulled that poo bag out of the pocket, I wanted to cry, right? And like very much like wanted to cry, like I felt it, and then I actually wanted to cry, you know like I don't know. Crying can be therapeutic. It's been a long time since I've cried. I can't remember the last time I've cried. I can remember times I've cried, but I cannot remember the last time I've cried. And there's definitely a therapy to crying. It's been, and in retrospect, a lot of people were hit and hurt badly by 2020, and I didn't. I have friends who lost mothers. Like I said, my brother's wife, my good friend, lost his mom too. Like his mom passed. I think I talked about this one and the one that didn't actually record, but like his mom passed in the house with him. He saw her go, battling cancer, and was there to watch her quite literally die in front of his eyes. Good friend. I talked to him this week as well, I think. Yeah, we did talk. And my mom and my family, dealing with my aunt's death, and I guess at the end of the day, I didn't come out unscathed either sense, even though losing a sister, a daughter, a mother, there's no comparing losing a dog to any of that for sure, but definitely experienced some loss that affected me about as badly as like any loss I've ever experienced. And I've lost grandparents, I've lost an aunt, right? It feels weird to put one's dog up on that same like level, but in some ways I think it affected me as much, if not more. Whew. And when I saw that poo bag, I just thought back to my mom. I mean, she must be pulling poo bags out of every pocket left and right still now, weeks later. I texted her that, texted her a picture of the poo bag and told her how I wanted to cry. And, what I say, I can't even begin to imagine how it's been for you the last few weeks. And she said exactly like I thought she would, like, yep, been pulling poo bags out of every pocket of every jacket, and not to mention there's all the other things around the house he had, like toys and stuff, that she had to go through the process of binning basically. And I was talking to her the other week and I could tell she's still affected. She even got choked up and talked about it in just a little bit, and it's like, whoa, I didn't even cry, but my mom definitely tears in her throat type thing when talking about Nick, That said, what else to say? I'm up for renewal on rent on this place. One of the agent called me. Like, I hate when people just call me out of the blue like this, but called me, are you going to renew? I'm like, I was even up for renewal. I know when the agent I spoke with when I rented this place said they wouldn't be surprised if they put it up for sale soon. So is it even an option? Yes, it's an option. Okay, well, I don't want to pay any more than 1,900. And I was kind of weak on. I should have been like much stronger on my negotiating of it. I should have said upfront 1,850 and see what they came back with. I said I don't want to pay any more than 19. I pay 1,950. I mean, this is a nominal discount, and the end of the day it comes out to like requesting for less than a 3% discount or something, maybe 3, almost exactly, less than 3. And not asking for much. And that was kind of the point I was making. I'm not asking for much, but I don't want to be paying the 1,950. There's no reason it shouldn't just be 19 flat. And I said I don't want to pay any more than 19. But yeah, obviously if you can get me 1,850, ideally, right? And then they all came back. They blew up my emails. Like the landlord came back, the agent came back, everyone with the 1,900. I'm like, dude, that I said at least. And okay, that's on me. I suppose I should have just said flat out 1,850, see what they say. But now I've got to decide, am I going to just accept that 19 or am I going to push back? And I'd rather just pay 18, like 80 even, just so I can say I pay 18 something instead of 19, because when I tell people what I pay out here, even though it like equates to less than what I was paying to live in the borough in San Francisco on Minna Street between 6th and 7th, with heroin junkies in front of my house, shitting on my front door, us having initially to clean it up with our bare hands. Oh my God. And then until one of our neighbors telling us upstairs that there's a number we could call to clean up that crap, But granted, I was splitting that with another person. So sure, it was more there for such a much shittier location. And it was a borough, no real proper windows. It was an in-law without a kitchen, between the two of us. Here, I have a view of I'm right over the canal. I've obviously got a kitchen, like, it's a one bedroom, not even a studio, it's a proper one bedroom. um, and I'm paying little bit less. I think maybe now it's just as much, if not more, given the currency exchange rate. The pound's gotten stronger lately, or the dollar's gotten weaker. I don't know what to say, which way, but yeah. So in my mind's eye, I was perfectly fine with what I was paying, what I am paying. But out here, the London rates, right? Even though London is an expensive city, sure, it's still considered a lot. You know. Um, Now, that's the thing with London. Like, yeah, sure, London's an expensive city, but there's a lot of places in London you can live that are not nearly as expensive as San Francisco. And part of that's enabled by just the public transit. Because in San Francisco, like, there's only so many places you can live that are like accessible to the city, or wherever you may be working. Whereas London, it's just like, underground over underground, underground. So many places you can live and get to so quickly, easily. Like, I could live in Brighton and my commute would be the same as it was for Santa Clara to San Francisco, except it'd be pure train, no car involved. Um, and yeah, so that's what London has going for it, is like really the public transit. And that's not news to anybody. I think outside of maybe Japan, I mean, London's probably got the best kind of public transit underground system in the world, right? But what that does is, even though London's an expensive city and a very populous city, it opens up a lot of options that make it, at the end of the day, just naturally more affordable, I think. Where San Francisco, you're on a tiny little peninsula and no public transit, really. It's like, are you close enough to BART or Muni or not? Um, and yeah, that's what changes things there. So we'll see. That's if we figure out this weekend. They all email me Wednesday and all jumping on me. So obviously, it's very, very, very fucking apparent that, like, they want me to renew. Because if I don't know, they'll be able to find someone to fill this place, even at 19. Because right now, rent's dropped a lot in London. A lot of people have exodus the fuck out of here, much like LA and San Francisco have experienced. And yeah, like, I think I have the cards here. Well, how do I want to play them, sort of thing. But at the same time, I don't want to lose this place. I do want to live here, so I don't want to fucking, I am glad to hear that they're renewing and that I can renew. And my offer is for like a 2-year with a 1-year break. Coming in this year, I had a 1 year with a 6-year break, meaning I can break out of it at 6 months at any time, but at the same time, I have it locked in for at least a year. Yeah, I said, let's just double it up. Do at least 1 more year. Not looking to leave, earlier than a year. I want to give this a full year again, hopefully in a new way, right? Where it's not just me like cooped up in here for a whole another 12 months. So, let's do 1 year break, and I'll lock it in for 2 years if I want. I have an option for 2. Anywho, that's very dry subject matter. Who the fuck cares about your rent, right? What else to say? Yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Now with this new hire here again, I'm just circling back to talking shop, but yeah, feeling good. What else unique about this week? Did settle on Blade, by the way. So let me talk a little bit about shaving. I'm not a big fan of shaving, but for a long time in my life earlier, I would always just use, what you use, clippers, right? Buzzer, I call it, but I think technically called clippers. I'll just use what you use on your head, like on my face, right? Just sit all like up in here and here and stuff. But then I realized, and I think like colleagues, more like a more elder colleague lady of mine once told me, like, just, shave the neck, right? Because yeah, and I do that now, but there was a time where I wouldn't, and that can look actually quite sloppy, I suppose, right? But when I do this like shaving of the neck, and I have such a fat neck, dude, it always surprises like tailors too. Like when they actually measure my neck, my fucking girthy, fat fucking neck. That's where all the weight I gain goes, right in here. You can tell too, like it's very obvious. Lose weight, the gain weight, ooh, you know, all there and in the gut. Fortunately, places where it can go, not the worst places in the world, but I really, the fat fucking neck. But yeah, so I've done this, but I know like the Turks too, they say that's something the Americans and the Brits really do is they do this shaving here. I was like, yeah, that's true, they do, but I also feel like the Persians do it too, right? The Persians, like have the very like trimmed up type thing, but I think they're talking more specific. That's one thing, but it's another thing just to do this like line, right? But I do that, and I do a little bit here too, because it does grow like like not as thick, obviously, but a little here. And I hated fucking these, Mach 4 blades, blah blah blah. All that shit was always such like horrible experience. So I said, fuck it, I'm just doing the clipper all over. But then I was like, no, I do need like a proper like blade, right? So what I gave a shot at one point was like this double-edged blades, right? Like go back to the old school, see what that's about. And it made sense to me, like it just like conceptually that if I just use one blade, I can get like a straighter line, right? Than trying to get a straight line with like 4 blades, right? So I gave it a shot. Bought like a razor, straight edge razor, not straight edge, but double edge razor. But then there's all the different blades you could buy, right? I spent hours on YouTube listening to like blade reviews, and tried all these different blades. And it's funny really because some blades like really like tore my shit up. Some blades not at all, right? Some blades in between. Um, some blades very smooth, but I actually don't like the smoothness. I like kind of hearing the shave, hearing it, right? Feeling it. I guess they call it feedback. I don't know. I like the feedback, right? I don't think that's supposed to be a good thing, but I like it, right? Like the of the shave, right? So tried all these different blades, and they come from all over the world. Like all the different brands. I could go pull all these different examples, but some from Egypt, some from Pakistan, some from Japan, some from Turkey, some from England. Any that were made in England? I don't think I tried any that were actually made in England. I think the Wilkinsons are now made in Germany, but yeah, all these and various ones. And then sometimes it is a very kind of close, kind of which one's better, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they're all like blades, but definite differences. And it's weird I mean, I think I would talk like this and my mom would just like roll her eyes, but dude, there's definite differences. And the first one I ever tried was the one I thought, from what reviews and stuff I was listening to, I was like, okay, they're saying this is a good one and it's made in Turkey, right? So I was so excited. I was like, okay, I bought like a mix pack to just sample like a bunch, and then over time, like bought like individual ones to continue sampling different types. But I remember when I first saw it, I was like, all right, this one's made in Turkey. It's really well reviewed. And it was horrible for me. I think it was like, granted, it was one of the earliest that I tried. So maybe I was just not doing it right type. But no, I circled back because I went through all of them, multiple times, like revalidate and revalidate. I remember circling back to it. Maybe it was just a bad batch, but it just like fucked my shit up. I was like, this is not for me. Right. It was unfortunate because I wanted the Turkish one to be the one, that I go with. It would have been nice. It's like buying a bottle of wine, right? Like I don't know shit about wine. I just pick off of like the bottle label name I like, um, hoping that it's good. Because if it's good, then it's great. Because it's like, oh, I like how the bottle looks, the label, the name, and the price. Two factors in as well. And if it's good, then it's great because I like the name, the label, the bottle, right? And if it's yeah, so and if it's not, whatever, I gave it a shot, right? Because I was attracted by the name, label, the bottle sort of thing, right? Price doesn't factor really into the blades. These things are so cheap anyways, and that's the thing too. These blades cost like less than 10 cents per if you buy like a 100 pack, for instance. If you want to buy just like a little 5 pack, like one of these, I'll show you. I even brought it out to show. Buy like one of these, like just a 5 pack. It's like $1 or something at most, $1.09 at most, $1.19 at most, I think. even for like the premium ones, even like the Japanese feathers, there's ones called feathers. They're like, you know, the sharpest, the top of the line. And even those for a 5-pack, we're still talking like $1.50 most. But whereas with these fucking 4 blades, Mach 4, Mach 3, whatever bullshit, bro, those things are fucking mad expensive, man. They're so expensive they have to fucking lock them up in grocery stores because people steal them, bro. Like that shit's ridiculous, dude. And I will tell you, no joke, the shave is not better. The shave is better with just these single like double-edged blades. Like I don't get it, man. It's the biggest con on the American, not just American, but on the modern man is this bullshit like safety razors with these 4 blades that don't even shave better. You could just get one of these and get yourself like a double-edged razor, and the shave is better. I do not get it. I think when I discovered this, like initially I was just kind of giving it a shot because try something new because I did not like the Mach 3, the 4 blades or whatever. It was not working for me for years. I said, I gotta try something new. Like, let me try old school and just give it a shot, see what it's about. And then once I did it, I was like, I don't understand why anyone uses these over expensive cartridges for shaving. It doesn't even give a better shave and doesn't even like, I ripped my shit up, to be honest. Like, will rip my neck up worse with those 4 blades than I ever have with any of these, even like the ones that did me the dirtiest. You know, I would consistently rip my neck up worse with those fucking cartridges than even the worst blade. And when I say even the worst blade, I mean even the worst blade that I'd used like multiple times and, you know, whatever. So that, man, if any guy listening to this and like has any kind of you know, I mean, experience shaving is not what I'm saying, but like wants to give something else a shot, like please do give the double edge razor blade shave a shot, man. My brother's doing it now too, and he's all about it as well. Like, so there we go. I don't know what he settled on a different razor. Razor is actually like the thing. I don't know what blade he's using. I'm curious to ask, but this is what I am now. Settle on it finally after I've been doing this double edge shaving for I want to say like 18 months at least now, at least probably longer, at least 18 months. Been through all different types, and this is what I finally settled on this guy. CS says AZ Muse Bat. I found that hilarious also. So A to Z Muse and then Bat. A to Z Muse and Bat. I'm Bat. BAT is me. And I had no idea that that was going to be how these were packaged, right? Like all I knew was that this, like, you know. And they're also the one that fucked me up the most was the same company, Derby. Different packaging, didn't have anything about this AS Muse bat. None of this. What does it say on it? Like approved by Analandi as Muse bat, right? But yeah, that one that I wanted to like the most was the worst. But this same brand now is the one I like the most, just the different, like the premium version, I guess, right? Surprise, surprise. But Turkish too, so yeah, working out pretty well. I'm happy. I'm tickled by it, right? To settle on your thing, and actually makes me want to shave now, right? I have always resented shaving, always pushed off shaving. Now I actually kind of want to, and I bought like 100-pack for like $8, 100-pack, right? So I guess that comes out to what? What is 100? What is that? 8 cents per? No way, not 8 cents. My math is shit. I am tired. Whatever it is, man. 80 cents per, probably. Yeah. I think you could even get it for cheaper. I just got the one that would come the quickest because I just wanted to have it now, you know. Yeah, it's cool. Something. Problem though with these is that I can't travel with this shit, right? So, you know, you can't. They won't let you. And even when there's been times I didn't bring the blades, I would just bring the razor, right? Without the blade in it or without any blades. And they would always kind of stop me. Not always. Some places didn't, like America didn't, but like all the European countries would stop me and say, hey, we need to check that there's no blade in there, you know? So yeah, it sucks in the sense of traveling. I guess you gotta default back to that safety cartridge bullshit if you want to travel with something. But you know, nothing's perfect. No situation's perfect. Yep. So that said, that was the purchase for this week. That came through. Blades, $8 purchase, 100 blades. That'll easily last me. Let's see. I'll go through blade like every 9 days. I shave like maybe like 3, 4 times with it every maybe 4 times with it every 2 weeks. I probably shave like 5 times in 2 weeks. I don't know. There's no regularity. It's just I do it when I feel like I should, sort of thing. And probably go through like 5 shaves or because I don't do a full shave, obviously, right? This is all still the clipper kind of thing. But before I switch out the blades, and I want because that was by design too. I wanted to test them to see like which ones like lasted the longest. Also, not just were good out the package, but like lasted also. And I still have a bunch that I like. Kind of the ones that kind of kept. I went through a mixed bag, went through them all, and then kept repurchase ones that I liked, and it just kind of the tournament, right? And the ones I like, if anyone's looking for Rex, right? Like Treat's a good one, it's Pakistani blade. Feathers, one I think everyone should have just because it's the sharpest and it's the Japanese blade, right? Another good one, Vakshad, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Persona Vakshad's a Russian one. Persona, I went with the Persona Red. That was a pretty good one. But yeah, Persona Red was good. That's an Israeli blade. One I really liked, kind of top of the list after this, was like the Shark, but like these Shark, it has like 3 different versions. There's like the Super Chromium, the Super Platinum, the Chromium, and the whatever I forget. But like the Platinum is the one I liked a lot. That was a good one. That's the Egyptian blade. But yeah, if anyone's interested, but I like this Derby Premium. It's the ultimate one for me. But yeah, I do recommend all those other ones as well. Those were like top finalists too. And there's a bunch out there that I haven't tried as well, I'm sure. So I know, but you know, that said, what a lame kind of like what a lame like digression, but at the same time, do you know how many YouTube videos I listened to of people reviewing blades? Like I found it engrossing, right? So I admit it's lame. At the same time, I was so grateful for those guys out there that went lame with it and did like full blown like blade reviews because I was all ears and happy to find people doing these reviews. But yeah. But it's a big fucking con. I'm telling you guys, the whole shaving fucking thing with this safety cartridge, it is con on man. I think it makes sense for like women, the safety cartridge type thing. I don't know that I'd want to be shaving my nether parts, right, with a double-edged blade. But anything short of like my nether parts, man, honestly, even my legs, not that I would shave my legs, but as a woman, maybe they should be reconsidering the safety cartridge shaving too. I don't know. Maybe there is something to the safety cartridge thing with like around like the knees and stuff. Yeah, I could see that, right? But to be honest, as a man, get off that safety cartridge bullshit. It's fucking a long fucking con on man. Way too expensive and not any better at all. Yep. And less satisfying too. I get much more satisfaction out of serving like this old school way. And not just because I feel like, oh, I'm old school cool, but like it is just purely more satisfying with like the single blade than it is with those 4 blades and the safety cartridge. Anywho, that said, don't think I have much more to say today. So with that said, much love. Be happy. Do good. Love out.